My point is this, friends. His Majesty will honor you Spartans no less than us Egyptians, or any other great warrior people, should you see wisdom and enlist yourselves voluntarily beneath his banner. In the East, we have learned that which you Greeks have not. The wheel turns, and man must turn with it. To resist is not mere folly, but madness. I watched my master's eyes then. Clearly, he perceived the Egyptian's intent as genuine, and his words proffered out of friendship and regard. Yet he could not stop anger from flushing his countenance. "You've never tasted freedom, friend," Dionysus spoke. "Or you would know that it is purchased not with gold, but steel. And as for the wheel you speak of," my master finished, "like every other, it turns both ways."
It comes in paints? Oh. I'm getting one.
Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're having a great day. Today, I'm going to talk to you about Gates of Fire by Steven Pressfield, an epic novel of the Battle of Thermopylae. So I know in that thumbnail and the little intro you saw, I had Ruthless Rye IPA. I had this whole thing, you know. The Spartans were ruthless, so I got a beer called Ruthless, and they were going to be thematically matched, and it was going to be great. But I started editing my first video last night and realized that it was terrible. So I deleted it, and now I'm re-recording it, and I only had one of those beers, so I'm drinking fucking Miller Lite. Not only that, but I got a good way into re-recording this and realized that I wasn't actually recording. I was just talking to my reflection pretty much. But anyways, I should be kind of well rehearsed in my thoughts by this point. So, Gates of Fire is historical fiction set in ancient Greece. It's at the time of when Xerxes was sending his massive army to invade Greece and pretty much take it over. He had like the biggest empire in the world at that point. And it's about the 300 Spartans and their allies that fend them off for 3 days in the narrow passage of Thermopylae, which means the hot gates. So you have historical fiction, you have brutal warfare of one of the most vicious and brutal warrior societies of all time. So this definitely isn't like a happy historical fiction, you know. It's dark and gritty, and it's about war, and it's about warriors, and it's really about I don't know. The whole time when I was reading it, I was like, this is like the manliest freaking book I've ever read. And he mentions it a lot of times throughout the book, this concept in Sparta called Andreia, which is like the pure distilled virtues of masculinity. And it's kind of like what the Spartans, it was like their goal was Andreia. It was to, face fear and embody these the kind of like manly virtues that they saw. Self-sacrifice, bravery, courage, the ability to face your fears and in combat and protect your city. Spartan society was definitely one of those societies that death in combat was one of the highest and most respectable ways that you could die, at least for a man. But even the women in Spartan society were pretty freaking, they could probably kick my ass. I remember while I was reading this, I kind of got the feeling that there wasn't a really good representation of women in the book, but as I continued to read it, there are many female characters throughout it. And all of the characters are many of them are based off of actual people in history. Alexandros inquired if any of the city, in Dionysus' opinion, possessed this true Andreia. Of all in Lacedaemon, our friend Polynices comes closest, but even his valor I find unsatisfactory. He fights not out of fear of dishonor, but greed for glory. This may be noble, or at least unbase, but is it true Andreia? Do you know who owns it? this pure form of courage more than any other I have known. None around the fire answered. My wife, Dionysus said. He turned to Alexandros. And your mother, the lady Perleia. He smiled again. There is a clue here. The seed of this higher valor, I suspect, lies in that which is female. The words themselves for courage, Andreia and ephobia, are female, where phobos and tromos, terror, are masculine. Perhaps the god we seek is not a god at all, but a goddess. I don't know. Pressfield definitely highlights the badassery of the Spartan and the Greek women. There's even a bit at the very end of the book that I don't want to spoil that really drives that point home too. War, not peace, produces virtue. War, not peace, purges vice. War, in preparation for war, calls forth all that is noble and honorable in a man. It unites him with his brothers and binds them in selfless love, eradicating in the crucible of necessity all which is base and ignoble. There, in the holy mill of murder, the meanest of men may seek and find that part of himself concealed beneath the corrupt, which shines forth brilliant and virtuous, worthy of honor before the gods. Do not despise war, my young friend, nor delude yourself that mercy and compassion are virtues superior to Andreia, to manly valor. So, in this book you follow Leonidas, from boyhood to manhood to fighting and dying at the gates of Thermopylae. And you kind of see him go into the Spartan boot camp at the age of 12 and see all the brutality that the Spartans used to turn boys into killing machines. So, this book is like part historical fiction. It's told in first person, which I thought was actually very interesting. I wasn't expecting that. So it's told in first person from the perspective of Leonidas, from a boy to a man. And it's part, historical fiction focusing on the time period and really getting you into the time period and the world of the ancient Greeks. And that the other 50% of it is it's a war book. Much like Band of Brothers is a war book. It's about the people and everything, but it's about the battles. It's about, the training and the mindset of somebody in war, of a soldier in war. And some of the, battle scenes in it are epic, but very gruesome. So I think if you want to read it, mentally prepare yourself for a lot of gruesome battle scenes. I think my favorite parts of this book are definitely whenever the king of the Spartans, Leonidas, goes into one of his speeches, one of his monologues. So the Spartans developed kind of like this early dog tag. And it was like this cheap wooden bracelet that they would put on their wrists. And they used wood instead of metal because it wouldn't be looted off their bodies if they were killed in combat. And it would have two parts of it, and they would break it in half, and they would break it jaggedly so that only those two parts could fit back together, and they would write their names on both parts of it. One of the pieces would be kept behind, and one of them they would wear on their wrists in battle, like a dog tag. And in one of his several monologues in the book, one of his speeches, the king Leonidas talks about how in warfare, there's two parts of a man. One that loves his family and his children and his life at home, and that's the better part. And then there's the base part, the animalistic part, the one that's vicious and can turn into a killing machine. And when they break that thing in half, they leave the good part of the man behind, and they take with them only the vicious part. And then after the battle, they retrieve the other part and join them back together so that the man can become whole and he has the good part with him again. A lot of stuff like that in this book that was just like, wow, that was beautiful. The Spartans were really, they trained their men to be warriors first and foremost, but they also taught them, language and poetry and mathematics. They were students as much as they were warriors, so you have all these amazing quotes from history that, were real quotes attributed to the Spartans. Very kind of pithy comebacks. But the most fearsome remains yet to be told, brothers. The Trachinian continued. That same day, as our jailers marched us to supper, we passed the Persian archers in their practice. Not the Olympian gods themselves could have assembled such myriads. I swear to you, mates, so numerous were the multitudes of bowmen that when they fired their volleys, the mass of arrows blocked out the sun. The rumor monger's eyes burned with pleasure. He turned to my master as if to savor the flame of dread his tale had ignited even in a Spartan. To his disappointment, Dionychus regarded him with a cool, almost bored detachment. Good, he said. Then we'll have our battle in the shade. It's full of stuff like that. It's pretty awesome. Those Spartans, man. They weren't somebody to mess with. Here's Leonidas speaking. After only 100 Spartans remain on the third day to die in battle as their allies retreat. Our allied brothers are on the road to home now. The king gestured down the track, the road that ran to southern Greece in safety. We must cover their withdrawal, otherwise the enemy's cavalry will roll unimpeded through these gates and ride our comrades down before they've got 10 miles. If we can hold a few hours more, our brothers will be safe. He inquired if any among the assembly wished also to speak. Alpheus stepped to the fore. I'm hungry too, so I'll keep it short. He drew up shyly in the unwanted role of speaker. I realized for the first time that his brother, Maron, stood nowhere among the ranks. This hero had died during the night, I heard a man whisper, of wounds sustained the previous day. Alpheus spoke quickly, unblessed by the orator's gift, but graced simply with the sincerity of his heart. In one way only have the gods permitted the mortals to surpass them. Man may give that which the gods cannot, all he possesses, his life. My own I set down with joy for you, friends, who have become the brother I no longer possess. This book has a lot of, that. It gives you a glimpse, an idea of the religion of the ancient Greeks and how they thought about spirituality and the afterlife and stuff like that you can really only get from a really well done historical fiction. And I wasn't expecting it, but I adored it, and I thought it just added to the goodness of this book, really. I don't know what much else to say about it. If you're into historical fiction, into ancient Greece, into war novels, I would highly recommend this. This was a surprisingly good book. It was much, much better than I expected it, and it only got better the more I kept reading it. 4.5 out of 5. If any of you guys have read this, let me know what you think, or what you thought about it in the comments. And yeah, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. If you want to talk to me, I'm on all the social medias. I got Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, Untapped if you're into the beer stuff. You can hit me up on Neopets, Tinder, Snapchat, LinkedIn if you want to share resumes. Goodreads, did I already say Goodreads? I don't know. MySpace. I don't have a Facebook though. You guys should all go read Gates of Fire. It was freaking awesome. And I will catch you in the next video. Subscribe. Goodbye. This is the last time I'm recording this damn thing.